All right, so everyone, if you didn't see him lay out the dough like very closely with his hands, I want everyone to come around here. If you can't see like real well, I want you to pay attention to my beautiful soft hands.
This time pay attention.
Right? And this time pay attention. Because you basically have one shot. And then, you know, we're going to be watching you. You're not on your own. We're going to be watching you. But still, don't just like fuck around and think you can do whatever. All right, so here we go. I'm using the flats of my fingers, okay, guys? So watch this. Not just the tips, the flats of my fingers. Just the tip.
Sorry.
God damn it. so many innuendos with you, dude. So look at that. Look how fast that was. I just basically laid it down and 1/4 of an inch, everyone. 1/4 of an inch. If it's any bigger than that, you're going to have a smaller center to spread out into a dough. So think about this. If my crust was all this big all the way around, it would be a very small center. But if it's very thin all the way around, by the way, this is still going to create a large crust, just so you know. So really spread it out. Okay, that just took a few seconds. If you find yourself just like doing this over and over, you're afraid to move on to the next step. I've seen it happen. Just continue on. So at this point, basically, I've been smashing the dough into the table. So I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to just flour it very lightly, okay? Very, very lightly, both sides. Cool? So now, here's the next step, and this is the hard part. Okay, so even when I just lay it flat, as in just like I push it down so it's no longer a ball, I always want to make sure it's kind of spreads around, right? And really, I want to flour the bottom. Edward J. almost. Okay, only the bottom. Try and keep the top as unfloured as possible. So now, next step, in my hands. So watch this. I'm just going to use the palms of my hands. So watch this. Palm to palm to palm. And I'm just turning it just a few degrees each time. And what that does is it rotates it just so I don't create an oval, you know? So I create a great circle. Let's think of the centrifugal force. All right, and basically what is hanging off my hand right here, I'm basically letting this dough think it's stretching itself. I don't want to pull it apart and force it apart. I'm basically convincing it that it wants to stretch on its own by using its own weight. So look at this. And as it gets bigger, it's going to go on my forearm, right? Cool. If at any time, guys, your dough feels like it's out of control or you don't know what you're doing, like let's say, I don't know, it's on your elbow or something, just lay it down, okay? Lay it down and kind of, even if it's like a weird shape, you can just reshape it back into a circle. Oh my God, it's so beautiful. Okay, so this is about the right size that I want, so watch this. Just once again, I'm gonna go a little heavier with the flour because once it's the right size, I'm basically just flouring the bottom, so bottoms up when it's the right size, and then watch this little trick. I'm just going to pull it over itself like that. See that? So easy. And then remember this, and if you see your neighbor doing this, like, you know, you have to remind everyone around you to do this. Move the dough around because, trust me, I've seen people, oh, okay, it's the right size, let's top it, and the bottom is totally sticky, then we come around and, oh, hey, beautiful pizza, then it's just ruined. So if it scoots around like this, you know, watch the person next to you, make sure they're doing it too, help them out. If it scoots around like that, it's ready for toppings, and then we're good. All right, so let's see here. Let's start off with just mozzarella. This will be our base. So if I have a mozzarella base, oh my God, that is gorgeous. Oh man, yeah. Hey, way to interrupt me, dude. Sorry. Jesus Christ. Anyways, everyone, look at me. If you have a mozzarella base, crumble it up really well. And I don't know if you notice how Tone used large chunks of cheese, because what you don't want is you don't want cheese that is over melted, okay? If it's a base, yes, you do want it to melt and spread out. If it's on top of already wet ingredients, you want it to just melt to the point where it looks.
I also notice like had those chunks with a lot of space between them come together here, right? So if you covered it in those chunks of mozzarella, it would like be overflowing into the oven and chaos, and it would be horrible. So I mean, this looks pretty fucking good to me.
That looks
you can
great.
see like it's got like some. This is not a soupy fork and knife Neapolitan pizza. This is a American pizza, right? And there's like, if you look at the bottom, there's some nice spotting, little charring on there, right? And that's because we've got those tiles that we've been heating this whole time. So we're cooking it simultaneously from the bottom and all that hot swirling air in there.
You have tiles on the top, or?
We've got 2 layers of tiles so that we can cook a lot of pizzas at the same time. You really only need to do 1 pizza at a time. You really only need 4 of these tiles. So we've got 8 on each.
Where's a
level.
good place to buy those?
Here.
Oh yeah, they sell.
How about mine here?
We highly recommend these individual quarry tiles that are put together. They're like this big. If you buy like a pizza stone with like Mario Batali's fat face on it and stuff, it's like probably gonna cost you. It's like just an unglazed quarry tile. It's just gonna be marked up like 1,000%. You know, and it's like if it breaks, you gotta replace the whole thing. These little individual tiles,
Oh.
they're cheap. One breaks, you just replace it.
And they sell them here, everybody.
You can form them and you can use it in just one rack. You can use it in a smaller oven, you can use it in a bigger oven,
You know what?
and you can buy them here.
I want so much pepper on this thing, it's gonna be spicy.
Oh yeah, baby.
Lisa, you brush the crust of that.
Yeah, that's something we do just because this in the wood fired ovens that are like 1,000 degrees, you're gonna get like a nice dark, rich brown kind of color to it, which is really nice. This crust comes out a little lighter, so I just brush. I mean, it wasn't. I made sure like all the excess olive oil came off the brush to where it was just a little bit on there, and just gave it a very light brush.
And that's
around
really
the
what that
outside,
does
just
to
give it
ruin-
a better color and like lock in some of that moisture.
When it comes to honestly taste and aesthetics, like that olive oil like brush really makes it pop. Because the great thing about wood fire ovens is it cooks pizza so fast it doesn't dry out the crust. And cooking in home ovens, it dries out the crust just a little bit. But when you add this olive oil, not only does it help with the flavor, but it definitely
You just do it on the
helps.
crust?
Yeah, just
Okay.
over the crust. That's
Okay.
all you want to do.
Little brush.
So the way we've decided to make things fair here is these people are going to start. They're going to make their pizzas first,
Yes.
and you guys are going to have to wait for them, so you guys get to eat this pizza that we made.
Exactly. This is how it's evened out. You guys got to make pizza first, so